Hello and welcome to another episode of Redacted. I'm WTFOSAURUS and I'm joined by Noobifier and BoredGamer. Today is Wednesday, July 12th, 2017, and you may hear whiny puppy in the background. That's
She's not a fan of the podcast.
She just hates the podcast. But no, she's in the room beside me, and this is her sort of getting used to that. So just a heads up, I apologize if you hear this on the stream or in the video, but it needs to be done.
Dogs be dogs.
What's that cup you got there, Bored?
Well, it's my Aegis teacup. I don't know where it is in the camera. I'm just gonna raise it until it flies away.
Yeah, no, it's past. Oh, it's like wait. So are you saying it's a flying saucer?
Oh, that's why your dog hates this. He hates puns.
Yeah. Is that why? Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It appears to be.
Probably.
Why is my head this big?
That's your head normally.
That's a good question, Noob. I was gonna ask you, but I thought it would be rude.
It's a little good.
No.
At least I don't say Matachi. I'm just kidding.
With their head that big, they'll capture you for like Alpha 3.0 or for some form of Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Because they like people with big heads because they fit the helmets. They make the helmet metrics to large heads.
Yeah, it's easy to fit a small head in a big helmet, but not a big head in a small helmet. I shouldn't have not said
anything, right? That's what this is my own punishment.
This is yeah. Look at you got a fancy mug as well.
Oh yeah.
And here I am drinking beer out of a mason jar like a West Coast hipster.
Bored and I were talking about it that I was going to get him a mug that says "I'm a lot cooler than the Noobifier on the internet."
And the Noobifier would get it for me. That would be even better.
There you go.
With that mugception.
So hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Welcome to the podcast.
First things first, before we jump into anything, if you guys have any questions, !question in chat. Anna will pop up with a link. Click on that link, fill that out, and we will get to those questions at the end of the podcast. Number two, I know it's been quite a while since we've had any sort of real content for Star Citizen, so I want to extend a huge thank you for being here and being on the podcast and listening to my dog whine and bark in the background.
So we're getting a emote done for it for the podcast in the future, I think.
Yeah, we have an emote.
Do you have a whiny dog emote?
Oh, I have the pup emote.
Maybe your dog's upset because of the end of net neutrality.
Maybe.
Nice segue. I like that.
Nice segue on that.
It's alright, guys. We want to save the internet too. Feel free to spam the shout emotes and they support a cause. Fuck throttling. Woo!
Bad.
It's bad.
You don't want ISPs to be able to control websites or games or whatever that you have access to, and what ones you don't have access to, or what ones you have high speed to. And the big issue, and this is just the beginning, but a lot of ISPs are owned by the cable companies, right? And we all know that cable TV is not doing so hot against, say, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, YouTube, whatever. So they could just throttle all of those services and boost their own. You know what I mean? So it's a huge conflict of interest. It's dangerous to a free and open internet in general. So if you haven't already, there's the spinny little emotes right there. Yeah, the buffering.
Spinny.
Click on one of the buffering emotes that's not mine, and it'll take you to net neutrality thing where you can learn more about it.
Woo! Look at us supporting the cause.
BoredGamer super excited.
Mate, anything that the stuff that they want to propose in this country for regulation of internet is madness.
It's ridiculous.
So yeah, same.
I don't know. Like,
didn't they just pass something in Germany too, where it's like something about YouTube? It's like if somebody complains or whatever, it needs to be taken down within 24 hours. Otherwise, they get a $50,000 fine or $50 million fine. You wouldn't even make that in 30 years on YouTube.
Yeah, I think YouTube.
No, YouTube gets the fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but it's like there's 400 minutes of content that go up 400 hours of content that go up every minute on YouTube. Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck trying to make that one stick.
Yeah.
Germany have some quite interesting laws for what can be shown, what can be broadcasted, and what's not allowed.
Yeah.
Which works very well for them, but it's probably doesn't work very well for YouTube. So.
Yeah. So moving on into actual news. So we had the schedule report, and everything seemed to get pushed back a little bit. So the Evocati is now, earliest date is the 20th of July, going to the 3rd of August, so that window. The PTU is aiming for the 7th of August to the 18th of August as a start time. Not like the whole of the PTU.
Yeah. And
live is going from the 21st to the 25th.
So around Gamescom.
Yeah, you
well,
see my
live. There. Well, live is going to Gamescom, and I'm gonna say this right now. Is anybody surprised? No.
I mean, I
hoped
that they wouldn't. Yeah, a lot of people did as well. Like, yeah. I was living on hope that wasn't going to be the case. But it does make sense for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I hope that CIG isn't just going to be marketing focused, they need to be a lot of the time. They need to make money. It's annoying.
It works to our benefit, right?
One moment.
Why?
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. So the idea, as sucky as it is, let's say it's ready now and they're holding it for Gamescom. Then I kind of disagree. Like, I would disagree with that. But if it just so happens to be 2 or 3 days, for example, and they have an opportunity to release it live at Gamescom, or that's the time, then although it is shitty for those of us who'd love to play the game, you also have to remember the perspective of the health of the game. Launching it at Gamescom is just marketing genius, right? It's optimal. So
yeah, I suppose. I mean, I'm as long as I get the actual wider PTU build,
yeah. Oh, it has to be right. It still has to be tested. I don't. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that it should be pushed off until then, just because it has to be bang on, has to be spot on. What I'm saying is launch Evocati, launch PTU, and then even if PTU is 2 weeks when it could be 1, hold it live until Gamescom. I don't think anyone should have a problem with that. I don't know. I guess it depends on if you have access to PTU or not.
I mean,
really,
for me, it's become a stage of that I know they're working on everything beyond 3.0, and a lot of the stuff for 3.0 they are improving upon.
I want it to be right. Yeah, the dog's pretty crazy. I guess at the end of the day, I'm probably not alone here. We all want it to be correct. I've seen 2.0 went to PTU Zulu, and then it still came out buggy, and it's the point of the PTU is to make it good for launch.
You get the H, isn't it?
It's hard, right? It's hard to. And again, I'm not a game developer, so I don't understand the inner workings of scheduling and all that other stuff.
But we have a massive overview of the project because we cover it so much. So we do understand quite a lot of what specifically their project does, or wants to do, or aims to do. And so I think you can have that kind of like, yeah, you're not a game developer, but no one's ever done this either.
Yeah. Like, so even in my personal life at work, I understand what it's like to be expecting to meet a timeline, and then to have an unknown come in, and you can't expect to know everything about everything, and there are always going to be those deltas that are unforeseen, and that's just it. Like, I'm going to get over the rant pretty soon. The schedule has always been a guideline, and as much as I love having a schedule, like, I really appreciate that knowledge, it also kind of infuriates the community if it does something like this where it's actually pushed back. So, rant over. See, a little teeny rant compared to maybe what you guys are used to.
No, I mean, it's expected. I suppose we knew it was going to be pushed back to Gamescom. I think a lot of us thought that. Yeah. They are working on a load of it. There's blockers, there's polish they want to do, there's tests they want to do. They want to make sure it is pretty much bugless for Gamescom. When their live build, this is big for them. This build, they can't make fucking mistakes for this one.
At the same time, I don't think it will get pushed back anymore. I think
it's very unlikely to get pushed back anymore.
Highly unlikely. I think it's something that they will work overtime and grind really hard to do.
Pushing it beyond Gamescom would be the polar opposite of what I just talked about. It would just wreck it, right? That would be the there's hype and then there's frustration. Just like SitCon, even though SitCon wasn't, I don't consider last year's SitCon.
Well, I think people are definitely at the frustration ready. But...
Oh yeah, yeah, and understandably, I wanted to mention that as well. Like, to all the people that watched the last video, I do read every single thing you post, and I do read everything on Reddit, and I 100% agree with the community that you have a right to be upset, and just as much as I have a right to have my perspective. And discussion is really good. Discussion is the whole point of content creation. So
right,
thank you for your support, and thanks for watching the videos. It does mean a lot to me. Moving on.
Moving on. Just another reminder, if you have any questions, !question in chat. AtV was the UK studio update.
Solid.
Can somebody focus on this, because I got to do the videos? So can somebody lead the charge on this?
Yeah, no worries. So the UK studio stuff is always my favourite, to be honest. UK studio update. I mean, you get Frankfurt, it's a little bit more focused on the Procedure Planets. But the UK studio, largest studio, you get to see some fucking amazing things. And so obviously this is obviously going to be very heavily focused on 3.0 features, polishing up 3.0, getting it ready. They talk about continued work on the cockpit experience. You get to see them sit in the ship for more dynamic kind of experience with redouts and blackouts and all that sort of jazz. And like continue on like doing the animations for that. And then we saw some stabby takedowns, which look pretty awesome now.
Yeah.
We saw them from the third person kind of perspective this time with the new cameras in Star Marine.
I'm a little bit worried about it though, because that pretty much broke, as far as I'm concerned, it kind of broke Battlefield 3 a little bit. It made it so that the knife counter knife was the mechanic that was introduced, and although that's realistic in real life, a counter knife is kind of something that scares me. And a knife should be a sweet kill. It should be like a one-shot takedown, like it is. And the only thing I can see is in a universe that has permadeath. I know we discussed this before. I just want everyone to know, I think the plan is that you'll get knifed and you'll become incapacitated, right? You just become out of the thing. You're not going to magically be ending up in character generation.
It's going to be a lot harder to knife someone in the persistent universe than it is in Star Marine, though.
Yeah.
I think it's going to change a lot in Star Marine. That and the stamina are gonna be
whole new game, mate. Whole new game.
It won't play like Call of Duty, that's for sure. Like, there's not going to be this jumping off buildings and running for 45 minutes. It's going to be a lot more tactical, which I like.
It'll slow things down for sure and make you pay attention to your surroundings.
I think there might be less people willing to run around with shotguns as well, because someone could be around the corner with a knife.
Yeah. Camping confirmed.
Yeah.
Camping confirmed.
Get your Colemans ready.
I mean, camping is going to happen a lot more with the stamina system. People are going to have to use cover. They want people to use the cover system. Cover system is kind of camping-y. Like, they want that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Other thing is, they talk about the Delta patch. We know it's probably coming with Alpha 3.0, or at least that's the plan.
Well, isn't that what Aaron Roberts said?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, they said they want it for 3.0.
Well, so everyone wants it, and I think that for different reasons, like obviously we discussed it before, CIG is going to end up saving money. They'll have the ability to do incremental patching, which we've, again, spoken about before, and those people that have caps, this is just great news for those people that want to participate, play the game, but also not pay the internet provider $50 overuse, right?
Right.
So
I have the Mobi-Glass thing up, and I'll be back again.
Okay. All right, no problem.
So Mobi-Glass, I'm thinking it looks pretty amazing. Like, other than the kind of weird strap that's far too big for the wrist.
The way the keyboard goes up over your wrist, the way it hovers, it's just good. But Source brought up something in the green room before we started, and that was so I understand why they do it. The Mobi-Glass is just like the HUD and the Connie. It's rendered for everyone to see because it's rendered. It's not like something it's not part of your HUD. It's in the universe. So technically, someone outside of the ship could look at your HUD. It's the same thing with the Mobi-Glass.
Even if it was on your HUD, though, they can look in your helmet.
Yeah, okay.
Literally look at your helmet.
The problem is, just like we were talking about how Spectrum has this like the potential eavesdropping mechanic that everyone would just stop using it and start using Discord. If you were looking at something that was very sensitive or mission specific, you may not want to let everyone see it. So at that point, you would almost have to look at your Mobi-Glass in a corner or the edge of a bar so that you don't have people stealing. But one thing I did think about the Mobi-Glass is if I wanted to show you something, Monkey, I could just go up to you and hold my arm up, and if you'd be able to see the same thing that I'm talking about. So if I call up, let's say the map, for example, and I said, here's the planet, we're going to go to this exact location using the cursor, and you can see it. The levels of gameplay possibility there are just mind-blowing. It's just very, very, very good and very immersive, and all of the other buzzwords you want to add there.
There will be very easy ways to share information with Mobi-Glass within your group. So if once you have a group set up, you'll be able to literally just go beep. You'll be able to send data across.
Almost like a screen capture.
Yeah, almost like a screen capture, but they could share whole journal entries and huge amounts of data pretty easily.
And Source, we were talking about that thing about make it fuzzy from the other side. I don't know quite
so
how that would
that's
work.
sort of my dislike of it. Because you can see it on the other side, and what I'm thinking is if they just rendered a texture, something that's opaque, well, then you can't see through it. Or maybe even have it like as an app that makes it encoded, or
you pay more money and then you get like a security blocker.
There are going to be different types of Mobi-Glass. So maybe there is a more military style one, which is sort of like an opaque background behind it.
Or just a Pip-Boy.
Right.
Just a pip of it, yeah.
Just a screen on your wrist, no hologram.
Yeah, because I mean, it's basically replacing a phone in the future. So it's the best analogy I can think of, and I said this to you earlier, Noob, was if I want to show you something on my phone, I can show you on my phone. But if I want to keep that private, if I have a conversation that's private or whatever, and I don't want passersby to see it, I won't show them my phone. Yeah, I'll cover it up a little bit. Yeah. But with the way that the Mobi-Glass is, it makes that difficult because you can see it from behind.
It's just open. So when you were gone with your dog, BG and I were talking about it, how you could, if you were worried about that, you could go up against, like think of R-Corp. You go to a corner and look at your Mobi-Glass in a corner, so that you're out of traffic. And I know that's kind of sloppy, but it may be one way to mitigate it if it's not implemented like
you could go into the back alley and hide in a corner for sure, right?
Corner table in a pub.
But sometimes
everyone their Mobi-Glass in the corner.
Sometimes that's not going to be possible.
No.
And if that's if that's an issue, people will go to outside. Like I'll go to Discord to send my messages there, where I know nobody else can read them.
Right.
So it's it's going to be interesting to see how they do those kind of things, and especially for like streamers and things. I don't know what kind of information they're going to show on there, like whatever, but you don't want showing that on stream. So it's like, but at the same time, you don't want a black box floating on your. So
I was just gonna say there's, for like Guitar Hero, there's that overlay that blanks out everything, and I know that if you, for your stream, if half the time you were looking at your Mobi-Glass, it was all just blocked out, that would be that would be really sucky. Yeah, I think.
So it'll be interesting.
You've got to have faith in CIG with some stuff, because they've talked about Twitch integration, and Amazon and Twitch are very well linked. So hopefully they would have thought about a lot of this stuff for streamers already, or be thinking about it.
Right.
I have an idea for that. For Twitch mode or whatever, whenever you, Source, let's say, are looking at your Mobi-Glass, it goes to a third-person view behind you for your stream, and then somehow you, on a second screen or something like that, you can see the contents of the Mobi-Glass. That would be a pain in the ass, though, right?
That would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it that way, but I think there must be a more elegant solution for that. Hello.
That was definitely not. It was definitely not a sexy solution.
Yeah. Well, there has to be an elegant solution. Like I said, like putting on a back to it. You know, having it so, or some sort of app that you know, that encodes it or something like that, where you don't have to deal with that so much.
I mean, stream sniping is definitely.
Well, I'm not even talking about stream sniping at this point. That's a secondary. I'm talking about if somebody walking by while you're trying to accept a mission or trying to look at coordinates or trying to look at messages that you don't want people to see, right? And that goes for both sides of the law. If you don't want an outlaw to see what you're looking at or that you're
or how much money you have in the bank,
whatever, right? It's like, okay, now I know how much you have. And I can extort you for that, right? It's
legit. I do think it's definitely worth looking into.
I mean, we also saw the star map on that mobiGlas stuff, and the star map looks amazing. But again, you're totally right with the coordinates and stuff. Like, it's very user friendly, so you would be able to even glance and go, "Oh, this guy I've been tracking's got a nav beacon here." Or something like that. Like it was.
Yeah, like you can see it really clearly here on the other video. That it's like
it's beautiful. It's like it's
nice. It looks great, but
yeah,
all you have to do is walk up to it and be like, "Oh, okay, I can see where you're looking at." You know, it's not that hard to read text backwards.
I could see people just coming up to you and using like the voice over IP, like, "Hey guy, what you looking at?" And you're like, "Go away, just leave me alone." It's like,
"Hey buddy, where are we going?"
Exactly. You're like, damn it, it's that
one
guy
person
again.
each side of you looking at your mobiGlas while you're looking at it. Just like, really? Why isn't this game instantized? God damn it!
Or like
custom servers for everyone.
Commander J Shepherd says in chat, an option to either have it display in your helmet or on your wrist.
People will still read it off your helmet.
Yeah, but it'll be much harder.
It'll be a lot harder.
You'll be looking directly at your eyes.
Well, no, because on your helmet it would be this big.
Yeah.
It would just be your eye.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Fair point.
I like the mobiGlas. I think it's amazing. It's amazing looking. There might be some odd gameplay mechanics because of it, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can always look at it in your own ship. So
one thing you didn't talk about is the number of things. I mean, this is right off of the schedule report, so it's not like it's new information, but the quantity of things that are going into the mobiGlas is quite exciting. I think that you're like right now we've got a mission thing and then a bunch of apps that say coming soon. Really, there isn't really much.
Do you think they're going to make any sort of API for it, like something similar to how you would maybe have a mod for World of Warcraft? Is there going to be a thing where you think they will allow us to make our own apps for the mobile?
I talked to Aaron about this as well, and they are going to have various APIs and modding and stuff that will be allowed even in game, not in private servers. But they want to get the game out first and then explore that.
And that makes sense. That's fair, right? Like we're not going to start worrying about because they could still change. They could still change what's on the mobiGlas, and now they've already spent all this time into building an API for something that's going to be removed, for example. But no, I didn't know how they were going to do the map on the mobiGlas, and it's exactly like it was, I think, for the Gamescom demo last year, where they had you were flying the Freelancer and it just popped up.
Yeah, right.
Very, very cool looking, and I'm actually very curious to see if there's like a hotkey that lets you stop your character from moving, and then you get control over the cursor, just like we do in when flight. You know, you hold down Z, so or Z if you guys like Z better.
Right.
It's got to be slick though, and I know it will be. I'm curious to see how it works and how they've dreamt up it working.
Yeah. We'll try and work out ways of breaking it as well pretty soon.
Cargo.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see what apps do come with it and sort of what we're going to be able to do with those, for sure.
But procedural cities, mate.
Right? Now there was a video. Let me see if I can find it. Because
there's no video.
Well, no.
The transition one.
I'm talking about the video of the dude who now works for CryEngine that made before, and I don't think you. Okay. No. It's not in Star Citizen. It's not in CryEngine. It's its own thing, but it's able to do procedural cities that are destructible and fully explorable. And that's not just On the outside, that's on the inside and everything else as well.
Cool. So the procedural city stuff, it was mentioned very briefly in AtV, which I don't know why very briefly, because it's potentially almost as big as procedural planets. It's
it's a big deal, right?
Yeah. It's not the first time they've done that either. Remember the first time they showed the little dude walking on the planet? It was just at the end of AtV. It's like, oh, by the way, this is good to go. And I'm like, oh my god, this is like game changing.
I think this is because that as they get towards Gamescom and the latter half of the year, they like to show stuff that's polished. So whatever they've got at the moment probably isn't that polished, but it works. Like everyone was really happy when they showed procedural tech for the first time, even though it was on Untouched Planet, because it was earlier on the project.
Now this demo we're looking at right now is quality of a potato, but it does an entire city for as big and as long as you want in an urban environment. And not only, like I said, is it this is something structure. I can't read it because it's so potato, but it's it gets rid of that sort of locked door syndrome, right? Which I mean I don't think anybody wants. And I can give you guys a link to that board and Noob if you want to use that for your videos. Or it's a really potato quality. But you can see he's able to go into any of the buildings, go through any of the doors. It's very sparsely decorated on the inside, but once again, you could just do that with more procedural stuff.
But the nice thing is it wouldn't take the developers time to do that, because once
they would do, well, it would be the same as the outposts or same as the truck stops or the space stations or whatever. They would have to build the sets to
and the rules that the computer would use to generate everything. They would just.
But then once the sets have been built for them to do that, then yes, they'll be able to do that. Now, if I fast forward into this a little bit, okay, so they're going to do it right now. It makes it so they can have a destructible environment as well, which is kind of cool. And we're seeing that right now where they're able to, no, it's really weak here, but you can make it as strong or as weak as you'd like. And
it is just a demo you're showing.
Yeah, it's just a demo here. So it looks like it's pretty old, but it's pretty interesting, and I'm wondering if this is sort of the next big thing, you know, past the procedural planets kind of thing. That was a big tech hurdle outside of obviously their netcode, which is the biggest thing that this game relies on, because we know they want to do whole city planets and everything.
Yeah, we want Terra and we want Earth and we want those big city planets, even in the shorter term with like ArcCorp and that sort of thing, to be as high detail and as explorable and physicalized as possible. And if they're working on this form of tech for it, great. That means that we're going to have a much more richer experience when it comes to those big city planets. They're not just going to be, oh, you're landed on a city planet. And because I think the worry with city planets is that they'd have literally effectively less content than every other moon or planet because they're a city planet and you're not only going to have restricted access to it. But potentially gives us huge amounts of gameplay.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's two things. So Battlefield did destructibility, and that was awesome because, I mean, it's a first-person shooter. You know, when you get into that, you run out of path, or the path is blocked because of something, like the enemy has got you
shoot through the drywall.
So well. Exactly. You have more options. So that's fantastic. The only concern is obviously they can't let you, let's say BoredGamer, get 30 of your friends and start shooting up Earth, right? And like, let's say take down San Francisco or whatever city they give us, because that would ruin it for everyone else.
But I mean, that's the same as shooting people up at a landing pad or something like that.
Yeah.
That's going to be a solution that whether it be automated turrets or whatever, you know, AI that stop that. And
could you imagine though, like Test Squadron gets together and they just drop Aurora after Aurora on Earth just to level the city? You know, like I know that people do it.
I don't think we will see. I do not think we will see destructible environments on that scale.
No,
possibly ever.
And that's what I'm hoping we won't, because people would abuse it. Right?
Probably,
there's no way.
I mean, the other thing that we'll see.
Well, like I said, I don't think they would be that easy to destroy if they made it like really difficult to destroy. And the other thing too is they don't need to do it for every building. They could do it to the inconsequential buildings. They could do it to some of the inconsequential outposts and things like that, right?
Oh yeah, possibly. I mean, I suppose we might see bases that are destructible.
I'm not saying they're going to. I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't.
Well, they probably haven't. They probably haven't 100% decided.
But I like that though, because what you're talking about is if you have a bunch of people holed up in one of those shitty shanty things in the middle of nowhere, then you have the option to go get your freelancer and just pretty much orbital strike, get the size 3s going,
right,
and just start poking holes in the wall.
Well, that's a good point as well with the bases and stuff. I mean, if you are attacking with a ship because you've taken out their ground defenses, like you don't want it to be repelled by the structure. It's like you're shooting with loads of missiles.
Right, it's a spaceship. It should do damage for sure. It's not magic building.
So maybe there will be some.
Maybe it is a magic building. It's the future. You don't know. What if it has a rainbow shield?
Oh my god.
Oh, unicorns confirmed.
Yeah. So you don't know. You don't tell me how I play Star Citizen, okay? All these Stargating and rainbows and undestructible, super destructible. Leave me alone. How about that?
But talking about bases, I suppose the first iteration of that is going to be in Alpha 3.0, which will be outposts that we can find rather than actual whole bases. And they've finished more stuff on the outposts. Obviously, they're in the polished stage, really, of Alpha 3.0 now. They show mining, hydroponics, habitation, storage, and a load of the different companies and the branding that they're going to have.
What kind of missions do you think we're going to get for that? Because I know, like, we had got the go pick up the cigars and go pick up the booze. Like, those are the ones that we're used to. Go pick up the gun. Do you think that we're going to see a lot of diversity in the missions? Or, like, obviously cargo's coming out, so that's a thing. And that could potentially open up a ton of different types of missions.
I've got a list somewhere of all of the missions that they've stated.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I think it's interesting.
I mean, it really depends on what mechanics they have done for what kind of missions we're going to get, I think, right? The cargo missions, the bounty missions, the piracy missions. And then depending on sort of what path you take down one of those rabbit holes, right? I don't think you'll get the bounty missions if you're doing the piracy stuff. I don't think you'll get the piracy stuff if you're doing the bounty missions. I mean, it's a possibility that you could. It really depends on how that procedural system works out, right?
And some of them are quite fluffy. Like some of them could be gather, some of them could be exploration, some of them could be
go talk to this person, or go find this item, or go find this iPad or whatever.
So they're going to be relatively simplistic for 3.0, I suspect, but there might be a reasonable amount of variety.
Yeah. Moving on to, come here, dog. Outpost archetypes. So we've seen the different decals and everything, or decals, or whatever you want to pronounce it.
Decals. That's how I want to say it.
Is how I say it as well. Oh my god, I have a fucking wild dog running around.
I'll be different. Decals.
Yeah, we know that they're gonna have different companies and all of that jazz. Yeah. What do you like? Well, I don't know.
I'm excited that it's procedural.
I need somebody to sort of take over.
I like the fact that they're building it such that it could in the future not be user created or not be developer created. That all of the structures are prefabs. Obviously, that's what they're called, prefab. They're prefabricated.
Yep.
And the computer's able to have a code and know what combination of things can go together, like what's acceptable as a rule. And then it knows that it's in this system, so it can only be this company, and it knows that it's been on the planet for this long, and that the planet is an ice world and not desert, so it's going to be, like the front door was kicked in and it's full of snow, or it's pristine because it's in a well patrolled area. Like that level, I think that'll go a long way in making the universe believable for the person without costing a ton of resources and time to develop all this stuff. So, yeah, at the end of the day, the procedural tech is what's going to save the game. It's what is going to make the game. You have something to say? Go for it.
Well, I mean, yeah, the procedural tech's great and all, but for me, that's great at doing the mass amounts of content. But then they need to do very, very clever, great mission systems. They'd have great. They have lots of other stuff there as well, which needs to be artist handcrafted and dropped in and stuff like that. And they can with their tool set.
100%.
So the procedural tech procedural tech is great, but the actual tool set that then overlaid on top of that is what I love. It's the
I think of it like Skyrim or what's the other one, Oblivion, where you're walking, or even Fallout for that matter. You're walking and you're on a mission to do something, and then some kind of tertiary thing pops up. I see the procedural stuff as those deviations or the distractions, and the main quest being the one that you're talking about, which is artist created and like more linear.
Yeah, but I mean, just in general, so they can procedure generate everything, and then they can and then they can also I'm not talking about the super handcrafted hero zone stuff or the very specific mission pieces. I'm talking about like they can do a sweeping, like, actually, I want mountain range here. I want an ocean here.
Now with the outposts, do you think that we're gonna start to see functionality with like obviously the habitation doesn't really need that sort of functionality, but storage, so I think that we'll probably see functionality with that. But what about the hydroponics or the mining stuff? I know we don't have mining in right away, but maybe that's for what do you think in 3.0? Do you think we're going to see any sort of uses for mining or a hydroponics outpost?
I don't know in 3.0. That's the problem. I think 3.1 we'll see lots or more.
Or do you think that these will just be sort of locations we're going to be able to walk around in, and that's sort of it? Yeah,
I'm not expecting epic gameplay from these locations. I'm expecting this to be the kind of crawl, walk, run thing that most people are expecting. So right now we're going to get access to land on the planets or the moons, whatever you want to call them, and then the locations will be there for us to explore and kind of mess around with. I can see a lot of people trying to, the mission is to camp or to hold that building, right? Like, and another person defend, very much like you used to do with SBK. Like, come server, come get me. I'm at SBK. Challenge accepted kind of stuff. But I don't think that you're going to be able to own the building. Obviously, I mean, if you sit in it, it's yours. That's I think the level of
like, yeah, you sort of
ownership.
Protect it and it's yours.
Right.
Your government.
Do I think you're going to be able to put cargo in the cargo room? No. Do I think you're going to be able to eat the grass that's growing in the hydroponics lab? No.
You don't think you'll be able to store cargo in the cargo one?
I think you'll be able to drop objects with grabby hands or whatever it's called now. But as far as I don't think you're going to be able to physically own the building. So
I don't think you'll be able to physically own the building either. But you don't think that there'll be areas where you'll be able to store that cargo? Like, it's like, say for example, you found an outpost somewhere on Yella, right? That's off the beaten path, and you use it as a warehouse, and that you leave that there, but you also have the opportunity of somebody else finding it and taking it. Right.
That sounds fun, and I do think it's possible. I don't think that would be a terribly well, I mean, it's all AUEC, so it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's not like it's going to cost you the game. But I don't know if I had cargo, I would probably be more inclined to just go sell it right away than to think about dropping it off and stockpiling it somewhere, because we don't know about the economy, right? Maybe what you're talking about would make sense if you had a lot of a resource, but your value was very low and you wanted to come back on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday and try to sell it for higher. I like the idea, but I'm not expecting that in 3.0. I'm expecting, I've been burned in the past by hype, and I'm expecting not to sound like negative, but I'm expecting very little and hoping for lots, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to theory craft a bunch of crap that isn't going to be in the game, and then I'm just pissed off.
If they treat outposts with physics grids separately, they technically could be used for cargo, but I don't know about that. Like, they haven't talked about that.
Well, it would have to be itemized and tabled, and all of the properties and attribute tables and everything back end would have to be there to support it. And again, we're not game developers. I mean, some of us have more access than others, but I coulda, woulda, shoulda is not an answer that I'm going to give you guys. As he sips on his coffee.
Yeah. Speaking of different truck stops and space stations, exterior is now complete. progress on interior. They're showing more and more of that, especially for the truck stops specifically.
The truck stops are looking really, really cool now.
Yeah.
They've done the admin offices, which they're I think in the short term they're going to be used for dropping off mission things, but in a longer term, I think they're going to be part of where you will also find missions and possibly negotiate with them to buy and sell cargo stuff. So I think admin offices in the future are going to have lots and lots and lots of uses. But the exteriors of those truck stops look great now. The interiors that they were showing, they showed like the hub and like a little observation room and a few other little bits and bobs. The truck stops are their first true modular space stations, and they will form a set of, in a similar way that the outposts do, a modular procedural set of stations that they can chuck into the verse eventually. Right. They can go, right, we need truck stop, right, we need military satellite, we need an Olisar type building. So it's pretty cool, pretty exciting, and that's looking great. They also showed some of the stuff with Grimhex as well. Like Grimhex got some new shops.
Yeah. Well, I'm expecting, when we've talked about this before, I'm expecting a lot of updates to Grimhex in general, just because it's so incomplete since we've had it, right?
You're not talking about moving elevators, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
Just
catastrophes.
Well, I'm more talking about all the hangars. I'm talking about the race thing and everything else as well. So
one of the things they talked about was there's a new electronics shop, or old electronics shop, there that houses a mysterious character.
Sounds
so bad.
Well, for 3.0, you've written in your notes, people are assuming it's Ruto.
Right.
Now, I'm assuming, and it probably is Ruto, I'm also assuming that Ruto is the head of Ortwin.
Of what?
Of Ortwin.
Oh, you think it's Ortwin's head is Ruto?
Yeah. Did you see that there was a animation of him on like a hologram thing, which they were talking about Squadron 42 at the time, but then immediately started talking about, I think, Ruto afterwards, or the electronics store afterwards. And I think you're gonna find him in the electronics store as a little hologram machine. You know, like fix him, and he's like, that's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can't have too many destinations in the universe.
But
I don't know who Ruto's going to be. I thought Ruto was going to be like a younger character.
So there's the a lot of people used to think it was the guy that gives you the pad on in the Gamescom demo. But I think his name's Eslin McCann or McCaffin or something. It does show his name in the little picture-in-picture thing. But yeah. I think it probably is Ruto. We don't know.
And then they updated the derelicts, and we know they've been working on that just via the schedule report. And so it looks like the Starfarer, the Caterpillar, the Connie, the Freelancer are all done. Now we're seeing them on planet side, but I imagine we'll also see these in space. Do you think, or do you think this is just the planet side only kind of deal? I feel like they're easier to do in space than they are on planet.
I agree with you, and I think we'll definitely see all those wrecks in space as well. I mean,
so there was a thing, I think it was pushed back. There's a difference between abandoned and player occupied, and then obviously AI occupied are definitely three different ways of having the ship on the ground. So you'd see your, like, for example, the Caterpillar laid out on the ground and it's abandoned. And then I know that I'm not expecting any kind of subsumption or you go there and there is an AI to interact with. But I do see like signs of life or something like that where it looked like someone was living at it at one point. And then of course in the future, it would be very cool if that derelict was actually a mission giver of its own, right? You go there and someone is there either to ask you to do something or try to kill you.
Right.
You know?
Or like little side missions that happen at these derelicts. That you find one out in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, okay, you can sort of find out what happened with it, or or whatever.
These are the kinds of things we need in a gigantic universe. This is the kind of thing that's going to get players together, right? Like you're flying by something, and I'm like, holy crap, there's a ship there, and you're doing the same thing. That's going to bring us together, and that's what's going to generate gameplay in something the size of a universe.
I still think that we might see NPCs on the ground, just not combat capable NPCs.
Okay.
Because we're definitely going to see bartenders, and we're definitely going to see new NPCs on landing zones and locations. Levski's on the ground. That's going to have NPCs, almost certainly. So there's no reason they can't put them out other places. I think they have problems with pathfinding and the AI on planets at the moment because they procedurally generated these planets which are complex for pathing, and they just haven't finished that yet. So
what you're saying is, do you think that I will, for example, land at a broken Connie and there would be a person there? Obviously, you're not going to be able to talk to them or something.
Potentially for a mission.
Possibilities there.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's a thing, right? Like, you know, we're all focused on how we're going to interact with other AI people. But remember, we know that there's going to be alien life forms. And do you think that that's going to be a thing? Do you think that potentially we're going to see alien life forms on any of these derelicts or abandoned outposts or anything like that?
Not in 3.0. I mean, it'd be an amazing surprise, wouldn't it?
That would be a really good surprise.
It'd be amazing if they did have something.
As soon as you do that, you have that fight-flight mechanic that has to come in. You have to be able to shoot them, and then you know what I mean. There has to be.
But okay, so we know that they can't. The pathfinding on planets right now doesn't work properly, so that's why we're not getting AI that can just go anywhere and everywhere. But if you had some small aliens or something like that that were confined to just a space station or just whatever, and there's no way for them to leave it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Do you think that's a possibility of something we could see coming into 3.0?
I would say, again, I want to say no, because I think that they're probably more concerned about the broad strokes of trying to get it to work, than put little. I wouldn't expect it, because I don't think that anyone would be shocked if it's not there. Right. Like, the expectation isn't that we're gonna land and like the guy's gonna have like you say, the aliens or something's gonna be there. I would be personally happy just landing on the planet and seeing a starfare. And
so we've got to consider 3.0 being it's Star Citizen, the genuine the general persistent MMO universe light. It's the backbone for everything. It's the skeleton for everything, but it is literally just the essentials. And everything else is likely to come relatively quickly, or that there's literally going to be lots of iteration and lots of content added quite quickly now. But the first release of this is going to be very little kind of extras, very little surprises. I'm hoping for some.
And I don't think anyone, like I said, would be upset if it's not there, because I don't think people are expecting it. So would it be a cool surprise? Of course. At the same time, it's not necessary for us to consider.
It's not necessary, but now that everything's sort of coming in as late as it's coming in, it wouldn't necessarily be super surprising if it did.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Now there are some additional mentions here. They fixed lighting on things, so whatever's in your peripherals and things like that. So it simulates your iris, right, or your pupil sort of dilating, or whatever. If you're looking,
they just don't want to oversaturate planets and objects with too much light.
You want to be able to see stars in the distance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just like you would in real life. And then they also added some new effects with the GPU particle system. We saw things that looked sort of like sparks and fireworks and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
So this is actually really, really, really big. So some of the stuff they're doing with the GPU particle system and offloading a load of the processes between now different CPU cores and the GPU is going to allow for a lot more performance, as well as a lot more quality. They've got a lot more cool things they can do. They can use sparks now, but they can use like 10 times more sparks and more effects than they could a few weeks ago.
Without dropping your frames, or without making you have to go buy a Titan Z.
Yeah, and in fact, not just dropping your frames, improving your frame rate.
Right.
So they can have 10 times the amount, and it will still be better than it was last time.
Optimization confirmed.
Yeah. And Star Citizen, the reasons a game like Star Citizen hasn't been made until now is because we didn't have the tech, and it was very bleeding edge. Even though we had the tech, it was sort of like they're going to have to build some of this. And that's why originally I thought a lot of us did think they were going to have to rein stuff back. So it's been delayed because of it, definitely. But it is coming together now, and this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome that it is all coming together. Something we are seeing is, and to be honest, I was kind of hoping for more, was 2 new weapons. I think variety is the spice of life.
Spice of life.
And it would have been nice to see even more weapons. I was hoping the whole P8 series were going to be coming in.
For
no over-the-shoulder gun though, right?
Weapons.
I mean, I've seen
like that.
Do we think that that's coming out? Because we've seen it demoed before all the time. Like they're always teasing.
Well, what about that microwave cannon as well?
Oh,
right.
Imagine for food processing.
Yeah. You know, if you want to cook your enemies before you eat them.
No, you've got loads of livestock in containers in cargo, and then you microwave cannon them, and then it's cooked food.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
You just fixed the economy.
Done.
Thank you, BoredGamer.
Nice. That's what I'm here for. Fixing the economy.
They were talking about the space shaders and the particles and stuff like that, so adding some sort of texture to space, so how they're going to fill things so it's not just a black void was pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's an interesting thing here, is because they want loads of cool looking space things, but they also want pretty much everything to be travelable to or tangible, or reasons at least for it to be there. There's going to be like nebulas, and there's going to be dust clouds which you're not going to be able to travel to because they're too far away, but you're still seeing so massive. But that mixture of tangibility and reason for them being there, as well as making it all look cool, it's pretty hard, I suppose, because space is black and dark and spacious. It's like, yeah, I like what they're doing with it. I like what they're doing with the space to shader and the dust clouds and all that jazz.
Well, the whole game is, we all know this. The game is just beautiful. That's one of the things. It's supposed to end all other games. So.
I mean, it's incredibly pretty.
Yeah.
And it's great if you like space games and space sims, and it will probably be very, 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 very good for an economy simulator in quite a large scale. But I mean, it's not going to be a survival game like PUBG. It's not going to be like Rust. It's not going to be, even with base building, it's unlikely to be like base building games. Certainly not going to be a strategy game. There's lots of stuff it doesn't hit Star Citizen. I think a lot of us do look at it like it's the end all of games because it encompasses everything. It doesn't really. It elaborates a bit more on the space sim genre by giving you first person.
Okay.
It's really
How about this? Remember, I think it was like what a year, 2 years ago. No, it was here. Baby Persistent Universe. The first time you get in Port Olisar and you fly and you go through abandoned space station with the woman telling you this is off limits. Did you not find it, like the first time we went through, did you not find it super eerie and super creepy and you kind of forgot where you were?
I still do, because I know that there could be people waiting there to murder me around a corner. Right. And it looks great.
That's exactly the feeling that I want in this game. Not all the time, but I want it to be that believable. And I think to achieve that, it needs to be visually believable.
Yeah.
The audio is good. Like everything has to be dialed into 27, and you should be able to forget that you're in a game, and that's exactly
what I'm saying is that, yeah, I mean, the quality and the fidelity is definitely there, and it's going to be an amazing looking game, but it isn't a game that hits every box for every genre, and nor should it be. Like, it's just that some people kind of thought it was. Like, it's a first person shooter game where you control spaceships. It's very sort of, you're not in control of your spaceship when you're in a spaceship, you're in control of your character still, and I love it for that.
You got to drive the car.
That's an amazing thing. But I guess, yeah, Star Citizen for me is probably going to be my favorite game of all time. It's just, oh my god, it's so much that needs to come together for it to work really well. I'm sure they'll get there. It's just.
The other thing that was really cool was when they showed the rings right? So not only was it an asteroid ring, but you could actually see the different bands like you could on whatever, and it's showing it here on the video on screen now with those shaders. As you're further away, it's so that you can see the rings, and I imagine from the surface of that moon or planet or whatever, you'll be able to see those rings as well.
I just want to be able to fly between them and fly in them and stuff like that. Oh my god! Like their gas cloud, their giant gas planet tech is coming later down the line, like possibly this year. I think they're still working on it at the moment. Now, I've seen some of the gas giant stuff in the background, and it looks great, and their smoke looks great. I want to know how good their gas giant technology stuff is going to be for the gas giants. Like, is it going to be something that I literally wet myself like every time I see?
Cloud cities that you can fly through.
Oh my god, I'm looking forward to so much gas giants.
Showed, the nebula, the Pyro Nebula. Do you think there'll be planets like that?
Or maybe you'll be able to fly deep into it and do actual
to a certain
harvesting.
extent before gravity gets too intense, right?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm looking forward to that. The smoke and the gas stuff with the CryEngine originally, I went, that's quite pretty. But now they've moved to Lumberyard and they've implemented like their own stuff and new stuff. It looks so superb. Smoke and gas, and that just it's very I think it's so beautiful. Like something I'll chill out in. Just have it running on my computer when I go to sleep.
And Doors 2.0 is coming online. That's something we've seen a lot of. We're going to see that sort of comes in conjunction with the room system, being able to lock things. And I'm curious to see if how we're gonna be able to break into things. Do you think that we're going to get our plasma cutters or anything like that in with this new door system, with both for either the ships or for space stations?
So just before that starts, Doors 2.0 is also the atmosphere, right?
Right. Well, yeah, that's with the room system. Yeah. So
and then the locking at the same time.
So for 3.0, what we're getting, so now for 3.0, at the very least, is that Doors 2.0 for that release will be aware that there are differences between things, and they're set up for the room system, but we might not have the room system pressure, explosive decompression, being aware of everything. That might not be implemented until 3.1, and probably won't be.
The Cutlass had a button that said lock, and I know that's created an entire thing. Just because the button's there doesn't mean that you can.
Well,
because it could be just a graphic, but the thing is that this gets
I think
into
it's just a render to texture. Technically.
Right. But that, to me, I know a lot of people are very excited about the idea of being able to walk away from your ship and lock it.
Right.
And obviously you as you the owner of this ship, the computer can very easily allow you to have
more importantly, me as a pirate, I want to be able to go up to somebody's ship if they've been gone away from it for a while to maybe not necessarily unlock it, but find a way into it. That's not being cheesy and glitching through a turret or something.
Will we be able to lock ships is a question that I haven't asked, that I really wanted to ask, that I forgot to put in my questions to ask.
Yeah.
I'd actually expect that we would be able to lock ships in 3.0, but then I'm thinking that means we need to be able to bridge them somehow, and I wasn't expecting that until 3.1, so I don't know.
So the only other gameplay that you could have from that is hiding, lurking, and waiting for the pilot to come and unlock the ship and then steal it somehow. Like what you're saying, Source, is there's no, if you lock it, I agree with you. There should be a way, a game mechanic which will let a player defeat it. No, right? Anytime you have something.
Matt Sherman has said longer term we will have ship locking. So it's not going to be, almost certainly not going to be for 3.8 then.
Right.
Okay.
Done.
Cool.
Next topic.
Bam.
MFD work is continuing, and yeah, so they're always working on the MFD stuff. Now we have somebody in the mocap gear that was blurred out, and people are like, oh well, maybe they didn't have the rights to use his likeness or whatever. Then my argument would be they just wouldn't have put it in the ATV. There would have been no reason to put it in.
They just wouldn't have bothered to tease it at all if that was a thing.
Oh, they're likely going to show him at Gamescom or CitizenCon.
Yeah. So who is this man? And is it going to be someone that we're like, oh yeah, you know, I could see it. I mean, I kind of see the the resemblance of a few different people. Like I kind of see the Chris Pratt. I kind of see I forget what the other he's
One of the
a
Baldwins,
Baldwin
someone
brother,
says.
right?
Yeah.
There's a billion of them.
Billion Baldwins.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
So it could be one of the Baldwins. Do we think that this is gonna be someone on the same level of, say, Gillian Anderson or higher than
Gillian Anderson or higher?
You know what I mean?
That,
just like
your scale?
yeah, but like I know I'm just trying to
amazing.
think of like, well, there's and I mean to myself, it's like I don't really know some of the actors or actresses that are in this just because I don't watch the shows.
Is that
right?
When I watched X-Files, I thought Gillian Anderson was a great actress.
Yes.
When I watched American Gods, I thought she was an amazing actress.
I haven't seen American Gods. So I only have
she's so good
reference
in
of
that.
X-Files because I used to binge watch it as a kid. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't know a lot of these actors or actresses that are coming in. Like Rhoda Mitra, I don't know what she's from, right? Like that doesn't mean that she's not a great actress and whatever. I just, for my
I think she's
scale,
from
I don't know.
American
I don't know what
ship
she's
thing.
from.
So I guess what source
Oh,
is
it
asking
could be
did
Kiefer.
CIG take
Somebody
a
said
janitor and put him in mocap, or did they actually pay an actor?
This could be
go in
Kiefer
mocap.
Sutherland. I see that too.
You
I
think Kiefer
remember.
Sutherland?
Yeah.
Is Kiefer Sutherland that big?
I think
This guy looks pretty
pretty
big.
beefy,
Beef.
beefcakey.
Yeah.
Hench.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
But anyways, I guess the question is, did they tease us with a person, like a normal person who they threw some mocap on? Or is this a deliberate, like, oh, by the way, we've got ourselves, a Kevin Spacey or someone very recognizable?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be Kiefer Sutherland with a beard, little bit of a beard.
Like he was in. Was he in Dark City? I think he was in Dark City. I really like that movie. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll find out enough. It's like obviously they put this in to drive us fucking insane and to have arguments while we wait for 3.0, right? Like that's the whole purpose of that. Thanks, CIG. We appreciate you. And then there were some updates to some of the ships. There were the Halsey update, the Eclipse update, and the Reclaimer update. Which the Reclaimer one seemed like the biggest sort of
it's close.
Yeah,
it's
the
done.
biggest thing in there that's like the big ship that's fancy. They had it in the procedural moon with the new pupil to planet kind of thing.
So more specifically, that the Reclaimer has 3 rooms left to go to final art, but then they need to do engineering hookups and damage states and all that sort of stuff.
There's a lot, obviously, but it's definitely I guess what we're seeing is a more complete Reclaimer. Not saying that the Halsey is not complete, but like we saw a wireframe of the mechanism, and the teasers are just not on the same level, I suppose. So I guess is what I'm saying. Looking forward to it. Obviously, it looks cool.
And moving forward, just another reminder that we have questions. If you want to ask any, !1 question in chat. Feel free to ask any questions about our channels, the game, whatever. We'll do our best to answer. Remember that we are not Star Citizen devs, so it will be mostly speculation unless we have an answer for sure.
I wanted to talk about something before we go on to that, if that's cool, unless we're running
well, we're
out
not
of time.
there yet. We're not there yet. No, we have just a quick thing from Citizens of the Stars where they talked about something being buggy, and they kind of hint at things in Citizens of the Stars. And so, do we think now? A lot of people are like, "Oh, hey, come here." Do we think that it's going to be a buggy, or I thought that it could possibly even be something that's sorry, I'm dealing with an insane dog here. That could be like an insect, like buggy, like a AT-AT,
Like a
ATST
bug.
kind of thing.
Okay.
Well, some people thought it was the spider miner. Some people thought, as I did, little buggy, ground buggy, that sort of thing. But there was a little teaser in the similar way to the Eclipse on the Twitter, which just said Tumbrel, and then disappeared straight away afterwards. And Tumbrel is like a one horse or oxen drawn cart used by like farming and agriculture and like for utility. So, I mean, it's possible that it's a spider miner. I just think that's very unlikely. It's much more likely to be a little buggy.
Buggy.
Yeah.
A buggy. No, it makes sense too, especially with planetary. So, do we think that we'll be able to take the gray cat and put it in a ship and land it on the planet and drive with it? Because we've seen it on the planet in engine, right? But we haven't necessarily. There's no confirmation. It's not on any schedule report that I saw.
Why wouldn't they allow us to use the grey cat buggy?
Right, but then how would you spawn it?
Well, how would you spawn a ground vehicle on?
How would you spawn a ship?
Yeah,
okay, so you could spawn a ship and then spawn your gray cat and then drive the gray cat onto it?
No. You're missing what? No, you're missing what I'm saying entirely. How do you spawn a ship in the first place?
You go, well, okay.
Let's do that on a planet then.
It's on Mobiglass.
Okay, sure. Do it on a planet where you don't need a ship to carry it there. You can just spawn it on the planet from a outpost or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So specifically,
one thing I forgot about though, cargo. Cargo. They specifically said that you can use an app on your Mobiglass to add and subtract cargo, and then at the same time, I would imagine in that app you could say dedicate this much cargo space. Like cargo is my gray cat, for example. Cargo is my Nox or my Dragonfly. Or the Ursa, for that matter, if you had a Connie.
Yeah, you're going to be able to secure that in the cargo hold, certainly. I mean, they've talked about that with the crates.
So on that subject, do you think that I remember they were talking about, like, for example, it may fit in A, but you won't be able to secure it in A. So remember all the guys that were doing the Big Bennies, moving the vending machine from one place to the other, how it would physically fit in there, but sometimes it would glitch through the door, and it wasn't supposed to, but you could. So people have tried putting M50s. I'm not going to say tried. People have put M50s in Connies and then closed the door, and it's awesome, but it's obviously not a feature. So I know there's going to be people out there, because I've read when I did that video on the Cutlass, that the Cutlass is one of the first small ships that will be able to purpose-built carry certain speeders. And then the guys in the chat are like, "Oh, I don't care."
Yeah, we still don't know if it's one or two of them, right? I don't know if Matt has an answer for that.
But I know for a fact, like, I don't think a Dragonfly in the Q&A, on the Nox Q&A, was specifically said that the Avenger might be able to physically fit it, but it may not be able to transport it the way it's supposed to. It's not designed to.
People will try. They can't be secured.
Of course they're going to try. I'm going to try.
I think one of the issues is that sort of transportation is obviously unsecure and stuff could get damaged, but also it's going to be buggy. This is probably why they don't want people.
You'll go to Quantum and then mysteriously your Nox is gone.
But the other thing, Noob, was that on some planets and some areas there are going to be spawn garages and spawn platforms with the terminals.
Makes sense.
In the short term.
Nice.
So we're gonna jump into questions. If anybody has any questions, you'd like to add them in there. I mean, there are quite a few in here, so I'm gonna try and burn through them as quickly as possible. First one's from Mike235883. Would you guys like at the end, if they finally launch Star Citizen, that every account gets a badge or a plaque that shows how much money they contributed to the making of the game? I thought it would be nice to be able to show off to people, maybe even include when you started. Like if it was like a plaque that you put in your hangar.
Well, we kind of have that already in the form of a form badge.
Yeah,
but so I know what you mean. So as long as
like, what if they converted those forum badges? Well, what if they converted those badges to a plaque that you could put on
that would be
like
fine.
A patch you put on your arm.
Or a patch you put on your arm or something.
You have to be able to not display it. Like, it can't be something that's there, because some people don't want other people to know.
Yeah, it would be an optional thing, just like any other hangar flare.
$50,000 on a video.
Yeah, and the other thing is you don't want to differentiate too much between the levels, because some people will get salty. So you wouldn't want exact amounts either. So patches or plaques based on your forum badge.
Yeah,
not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Cool,
Neshma.
The war bonds were supposed to. No, they're not.
Yeah,
that's
not
time.
Neshma says, "Hey guys, love your work as usual. With the Cutlass rework, thoughts on what we're expecting from the red and the blue? Just better versions of them. You know, better versions of what the red and the blue were. I really like the idea of having the medical stuff in the back of the red. I really like the idea of having the different holding cells in the back of the blue, and like just the different specs overall. You know, the one thing I enjoyed out of all the cutlasses is on the red was the external roll cage with the lighting and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm hoping that that's still going to be a thing that we could put on any of the.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping that they're purely modular. Like 99% of the stuff's modular. I think the blue might have a slightly different cockpit, maybe, but I'm hoping that's going to be Battlefield upgrade kit kind of thing. That they're still technically modular. I think that they said that the red's going to have, I think, it's going to have a toilet, or like a bed or something. It's going to be
the red is more of the medical ship, right?
Yes, the ambulance.
Now, do you guys own the red or the blue?
Do they come with the Endeavour?
No.
Anyway?
No.
No.
I have a black.
I think I've got a black as well.
Okay.
I'm debating. So what it boils down to for me is you have 3 different hulls, and
I think they're going to be the same now. But
now this is what I was going to say is if you buy a red, can you make it a black?
Or make it a blue?
Or make it a blue. You can't make it a blue. You won't be able to make it a blue because a blue is a bigger shield and a bigger power plant. That's part of its mystique. That's part of the whole point of spending
what if
bucks.
But what if that is just literal systems? What if it's got more armor, more shield, more and stuff like that, but it is effectively modular in the same way that a Harbinger is effectively modular?
Okay.
I think, I mean, that would be interesting because a lot of people might be a little perturbed by that.
Yeah. The only way I would buy a blue is if I would not go buy a blue because I have a black because I want to be able to do all the things that a black will be good for. The cargo, you know, the normal, that stuff. I'm not terribly interested in the idea of using it as a bounty hunter. So if I could buy the blue and use it like a black, like strip it down and make it into a black with a bigger shield and a bigger power plant, and the better, I would argue that it would be a better cockpit because it's dome shaped and it's easier to, like, it's a better view perhaps. I would favor the idea of choosing a blue and dumbing it down to the role of what a black would be. But if a blue is hard coded as the bounty hunter, you can remove the cells, but you can't actually modify it like that, then I would be kind of concerned about it.
I'll be 1 second.
Yep.
Continue.
Light bright.
You want a red. Sorry. Next question. Fine.
Yeah. Next question. Fine. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, I have all 3. I have a black, a red, and a blue. And if it turns out that they're modular, then I'll make them all into whatever is best suited for whatever I need, and then keep the I hope they're modular.
So you wouldn't melt down 2 because they're the same? Like, I guess that's the question. Is if they were all.
That's a good question. But the thing is what would I melt them down for?
Hypothetically.
Right. Okay. So
I know you would.
For me,
I know you would.
No. Well, I may. Right. If they're all the same, then let's get rid of the blue or the black and the red, and keep the blue. Right.
Right. Because that makes sense.
But then for me specifically, I can't use those credits to give anything away. Right. And I can't use those credits to. I don't want to buy any more ships for myself. Like I want to start with just the Drake ships. So then it's like, well, what do I do with those? I guess I could wait until the modules come out for the Caterpillar, or buy and put those melted funds into the modules for the Cutlass or anything else and those kind of things maybe.
The Caterpillar is an interesting subject. I don't want to talk about it too long because I know we're into questions, but
I want to see modules for it soon.
Yeah,
sooner rather than later.
The ship was a really, really good value when it came out, until you question how much modules will cost. Because as a cargo ship, it's fine. It's not a particularly. It's a good cargo ship. It's not the best cargo ship.
It's not great. It's not terrible.
Is the fact that you can make one of the 4 modules a med bay. You know, like you have options with it, and
or
that's
store,
I think why it's your pirate capital ship, your mini org nucleus. But if it costs, I know that it's not gonna be like double the price, but if let's say all the modules come out and the modules cost $500 more, that's going to be a bit of a hard pill to swallow, because now you have $1,000 pledge, ish. Canadian money. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. Yeah, in Canadian, it's like, geez, I don't like looking at my account and converting it to Canadian. No. Feels bad, man. It's like we're close. Just to go off on a little Canadian tangent while we're waiting for Board here. We're close to, I think the lowest it's been in the last little while has been 64 cents, and that was back in 2001 to 2003 or something like that. Right now we're pretty close to that. We're at like 73 cents or something right now.
I thought or
74 cents.
It's definitely not.
I mean, it's
when
good
I'm looking
for
at the store. I'm definitely thinking about it. That's for sure.
Yeah, but it's like when I look at the store and I look at, you know, what a cost of a brand new car is here. I'm like, oh, hey.
Like,
cool.
That's why you sell your Cutlass Red to go buy a car.
Yeah.
Because it's worth $5,000 in Canadian money.
Yeah. Them Canadian dollars. Lightbright says, what is the situation on the P-52 Merlin? As CIG stated, when we'll be able to dock it or undock it from our constellations, is this something we can see in 3.0 or soon after? I believe this is something they said is coming in 3.0.
Okay, so this is the problem, is that the schedule report is so big that it's
easy
to
this is the thing, is we have someone here who can clear it up and let us know. If they're able to let us know. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, it's all good. You see, this is the thing. If you say, "Oh, I'll just be quiet," everybody thinks I'm being mean to you. So stop saying that. No, it's not.
Okay. Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah, I know, but everybody thinks I'm like.
Okay. No, I'm
whispering you over here. Noobifier, you better shut the fuck up and learn your place.
Oh my God! What are you doing to Noobifier? Stop abusing him.
Right?
Abusing me from 3,000 kilometers away.
Yeah.
I believe the thing with the P-52 is that they want to have it in 3.0. There's a potential that the Parasite ship, specifically P-52 Constellation, will be ready for 3.0.
That's what I heard. I heard it was ready.
How do you think it's going to work then? Do you think that, so there was talks of 2 different ways of it happening, where a guy gets in and he just says undock, which I think is how it's going to work. There's another one that...
I think the ships will have to be stopped. And it'll auto undock and it'll auto dock. Like from a certain range. You won't have control over the ship when it undocks and gets you far enough away.
We choose a landing pad. You basically
push
the
same
landing
idea.
mode and hit go. Which is another great thing, which is the air traffic controller, which we've already talked about a bunch of times. But it would be very cool if we were able to do that, because I wasn't actually expecting to use the Connie like that.
Right.
I feel that the docking, the redocking with it may be the issue.
so here's the problem with that, though. Isn't the point of the parasitic fighter to become a nuisance for when you're being attacked? So the last thing I would want to do is stop to release my little ship. You know, basically make myself a gorgeous target that someone could go missile, missile, missile. So
how are they attached at the moment? Are they able just to strafe sideways or go down or go?
Well, I guess from a game mechanics perspective, that's what I'm saying. It's like whether or not you should be able to, and whether or not the game engine will let you, I guess is the question.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Theorycraft. It would be nice if someone in chat
looking
forward to it if it is in 3.0.
Yeah,
there's probably loads of cool shit.
I remember hearing. I think it was from Matt Sherman, or reading about it, or seeing it on something that the P-52 Merlin specifically was in, but they didn't have the undocking and docking for, say, the Caterpillar.
Okay, but you know what's cool about that ship is that unlike the speeders, that speeder class that can't transition into atmosphere or into space, the parasitic will. I mean, it just doesn't have a quantum drive.
Right.
So it gives you your Captain Picard captain's yacht idea, where you could leave your ship and crew and then go off and do something all by yourself.
Some exploration.
Yeah.
Get into some shenanigans.
Again, more gameplay options.
Eric A. My Parrot says, I don't know much about the subject, so sorry if it's been answered before. Will pirate organizations be able to put pressure on systems that are highly trafficked in order to gain UEC, such as allowing haulers and such through a system for a small fee? I imagine that's the plan. I mean, that's
you just set up interdiction and pay people, or tell people to pay you, or else you're gonna disable them.
Kill them.
Right. Yeah. So kill them. I like that. It's nice and simple. We will kill you. Mike
235883 says, if you could only start the game with a Mustang Alpha or an Aurora MR, which do you personally choose for what you're gonna do? I mean, it's more based on aesthetics at that point. I mean, the Mustang Alpha is a little more. I think it's a little faster, but it's not as flexible as the Aurora.
Yeah, the Auroras, if you want to do a little bit of cargo hauling and that sort of stuff. I prefer the Mustang Alpha as my first ship if I was going to.
Yeah, I prefer the Aurora a little bit.
And then there's the Beta. I know that that wasn't one of the options, because then I could just say Mustang Polaris. But the Beta is also, don't forget about that ship, because that's your exploration ship, and that could actually be more in tune with what you want to do.
Yeah. Just whatever you think is sort of more your style. The next question's from Eric ate my parrot again. I heard a rumor that was supposedly confirmed by Matt Sherman that the Cutlass Black isn't enterable from the rear cargo door when the Cutlass is maxed out with cargo. You can apparently get out on the side doors on the way out, but on the way in, you cannot have max cargo to enter. Was this told somewhere I missed? Thanks, Redacted. Love you all. I mean, it makes sense, right? We do have, it has the side entrance, so you don't need to use the back door.
Yeah, and fully laden, that kind of maybe makes sense.
Well, think about a cube truck. Like, when you fill a cube truck from floor to ceiling with boxes, you can't get out the back door.
Yeah.
And it does make sense.
Yeah, you use the side entrance.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense from the gameplay's still fine. It's not like you're unable to fly your ship or get into your ship anymore.
It just limits your capability, and it's realistic. You have a shit ton of boxes in the back of your truck. So.
Oraka says, are you planning a special podcast Twitch stream live from one of the moons, or as soon as 3.0 hits the PT or 3.0 it's public? That might be a cool idea, just getting random players trying to find you. Now, we've talked about this before. Me, Bored, and Twerk talked about it. When the render, the texture, and the cameras and stuff are in, we could do a podcast in game. Now, I don't know if that's going to be something we're going to do without that feature in there. It's highly unlikely.
I mean, I wouldn't mind playing Star Citizen while we do the podcast. If there's something we could do that we could show off.
Right. Yeah.
Be a reason for us doing it.
This also goes into when 3.0 drops to the PTU. I'm going to be doing a 24-hour live stream, and one of the things that I'm going to be doing is, now that we have these moons, let's play some hide and seek. And maybe give some prizes to the first people who find me.
You know, it takes 15 hours-ish to cross one in a Nox. That's going to be some pretty intense hide and seek.
Well, we're doing a 24-hour stream. And so, maybe it's, we do something like, I don't know, I may have some $300 hardware peripheral that somebody could win by finding me. Noobifier may be donating to us.
It may look like a spaceship.
Yeah. So,
like a flying saucer.
Right.
Something very similar to that. Yeah, maybe. So, if you find me in game on the day of the charity stuff, you may find yourself with some new hardware. I mean,
and I think as many as the redacted content creators as we can will get involved with that. I
have a question for you. So on that, the idea of having a stream in game, you guys seen the TV show called The Grand Tour? It is Jeremy Clarkson, all those guys, how they go from location to location. They set up a tent and they have the show in front of an audience. So one way to do that would be to make lock down the instance with so many people that all meet up in one place, and then have people from the stream watching the stream on a planet. Is that stupid?
No, I think that's some cool stuff that you could do in game, and that's some stuff you possibly technically could do now if you had everyone join a group together or multiple groups together and join an instance.
And Saurus's perspective could be third person, so you could see everyone, right? So you'd have like Twerk and BoredGamer and Saurus at the front doing the podcast, and as long as no one started shooting people,
there's a lot of issues with doing that stuff now, and possibly even in 3.0, and it's to do with bugginess and how long it would take to do, and crashes and stuff like that. Like the amount of effort involved in organization and being hopeful.
All you need is 3 of you though in the instance.
That's
everyone
true.
else isn't along for the ride, as it were.
But that sort of stuff become more and more viable as the game becomes more stable.
Cataphor Says, since the delay from 3.0, are you ever worried we might only get one major patch per year? Or would you be okay with that if that would be the case?
Delta Patcher.
I'm hoping. Well, yeah. So they're saying Delta Patcher, but I'm really hoping, and I want to be very clear. I'm not expecting this immediately, but I want it to be within by the beginning of next year. I would be okay with it when we're starting to get regular patches, either once a month, once every 2 weeks. Once every 2 weeks, would be okay. Once every week would be amazing.
Once every week's too soon a turnaround.
Well, but it depends on, you know, if they're fixing minor bugs and stuff like that. Here's a patch to fix those bugs, right? Things like that. They're not able to do now, and now they'll be able to do that. So, oh, here's a new T-shirt. That's the only thing in the patch this week. We haven't been able to finish anything else. Okay, cool. You know, just any little thing that another day for us to look forward to. You know what I mean?
There's always going to be balance fixes, hot fixes, little bugs and stuff like that.
And I feel like they'll have more flexibility with, you know, what damage weapons can do, what damage armor can take, both on FPS and in the ships and stuff like that. And they can sort of get more of a better feel for those kind of things, and we'll be able to test those things on a week-to-week basis instead of on a 6 month to 6. Yeah, it hypes people way more.
We're
Sneak
talking
some things in there
3.0.
and don't say what's coming in, you know. Have some.
Are we talking like the big ones like 3.0, 4.0?
No, I'm talking like patches. So 3.0.5.
My thing would be to say that with the Delta Patcher, we won't get the major releases in the same way anymore. It literally will be.
This is done. Let's put it in.
Yeah, so you'd only get milestones for major gameplay changes, and they wouldn't actually be that often. So you'd get 4.0, you'd get 3.
You know, see how we're not getting patches for, say, I don't know, 6 months, right? Yeah. So instead of us we'd still have this big milestone of 6 months, but before we could have these other ships that are come in, and we could have maybe item 2.0 if it's ready. They could have that come in already. We could have all of this other stuff come in instead of them waiting for this one super, you know, whatever this crazy patch is.
There will never be a patch that changes the game as much as 3.0 does. Even adding more systems is not as big as this. Like it's big.
Right. And this is what I was going to say. So
but not.
Even when they add, let's say, mining doesn't have to go like redo the entire code. Mining could be added to, right? Like you're saying with the Delta Patcher. So there's no hard. I guess what I'm saying is, will there be a reason to have it delay like 3.0 for Gamescom?
You would have no delays in patches. So you'd literally, the idea would be that oh yeah, we're not releasing 3.1. Why aren't you releasing 3.1? Because it's specifically for the mining milestone. But we can release 3.0.0.3.2, and they can just keep on doing that until. Yeah, and it doesn't matter. They can keep on releasing patches. They're not releasing 3.1 because it's irrelevant until mining's out, and then
they can still do Evocati. They can still do Evocati iterative, and then just
you'd have Evocati every week effectively with a new minor change. They'd go, let's just make sure it doesn't blow up the servers.
Or maybe they want to test something else just on the PTU and just just in Evocati, and they just want to test it, and they don't know if it's going to be in the game or not. They can throw it in and not have to worry for a big patch and be able to do that.
All the Evocati, we just need you to mob Miles Eckhart repeatedly.
Yeah.
And then everyone just keep on mobbing him, and they go, now we've got now we've got a way to fix the problem with 60 players running at him. Like that's the sort of shit that you might get. So it's exciting times for the game. It's been delayed, so everyone's just a bit like, oh. Yeah. It's fair enough. Content.
It's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. I understand why the community's so vocal.
But would you be upset with if it was one major patch per year if we were having a lot of those little patches in between?
No,
I wouldn't care. I don't think.
I mean, it depends on your term of major. Like, I would be upset if it was like next year we get mining, and then the year after that we get salvage. That would upset me.
Right.
Like, I want to see those thick and fast, those mechanics now, and I want to see like the next major patch. So for me is 4.0. We're going to get mechanics in 3.1, 3.2, and all that sort of that with new systems, and then I want to see 5.0 with full capital ship combat. Something like that. You know what I mean? They're big milestones which you can go, yeah, this is big.
But at that point, when you got, like, for example, 5.0, would you not, again, I'm not a game developer, would you not consider that to be the point where you're definitely into beta?
I mean, it's definitely into beta. It's definitely into beta when you've got all of the features fully fleshed out in their basics, and then you're just adding content. Literally just content. You're not adding features. You're not saying, oh, we need to further develop this bit and bob. Where you're going, right, we think we've got everything done. We're just adding content on these set of rules. That for me is beta.
Yeah.
Or beta, whatever.
Now, our next question comes from Nefarious Deed. What do each of us expect to be shown at Gamescom? I guess I'll start with Noobifier.
So I'm basically expecting to see 3.0 shown big time. As far as, because Gamescom isn't limited only to 3.0, I would really like to see the vertical slice that we were supposed to see last year at SitCon for Squadron 42. I would definitely, it would be a highlight for me anyways. That's really about it. Maybe some mining mechanic preview, some more procedural demo. Like the last year they showed us how the tool works. Maybe some side missions, a fully fleshed out mission, because we did see the worm mission last year, but it didn't have subsumption, and it wasn't, it was rudimentary, right? Like, it looked awesome, but now that it's been a year, you look back at it, you say, it can do better. I guess more. I'm looking for more at Gamescom, more than last year.
I mean, I think we'll see a full potential 3.0 showcase, just like almost a vertical slice of that. Yep. We might see a vertical slice of Squadron 42. Typically, it's saved for CitizenCon Squadron 42 stuff, but it depends on when they're thinking of releasing Squadron 42. And I suppose people have been waiting on the vertical slice, so we'll have to see what that's evolved into. We'll definitely see some form of crazy sales stuff. We'll see a concept sale as well. And I suppose I want to see 3.1 and 3.2 and roadmap to 4.0. Yeah. I want to see all the features in that. And I suspect we'll see some gameplay and actual semi-working mechanics for that already.
So same thing for me. So aside from the 3.0 stuff that I think is obvious that they're going to be showing and being like, oh, look at us, look what we just did. I would like to also see a couple other things. I'm not expecting Squadron 42. I think Squadron 42 will be CitizenCon. But if they do, that would be fantastic. What I would like to see is more on the planet's scale of things, with the different biomes and the different things that they're doing with the planet tech. And then I would also like to see what kind of stuff they're sort of coming up with those procedural cities, because I think that those are both fairly big things that could come in. I'm not really sure what else. You know, it would be great to see a bunch of new land vehicles and how they're going to sort of do more of the combined arms thing. But I'm not expecting. I'm not against Squadron 42, but I'm definitely not expecting it to be at Gamescom. I think that they would save that for their own little thing to get to push their own. You know, think of CIG and marketing. You know,
what about terrestrial racing?
But potentially, Gamescom could be
racing and stuff like
Gamescom could be the start of their Squadron 42 marketing campaign. Potentially,
right.
That's the sort of thing. If it's close enough, otherwise.
And then have it sort of peak up near CitizenCon.
Because last year at Gamescom or SitCon, they did the planet to planet, Atmo to Atmo shot, and then they did another shoot out, and then they had an Icarus there, and then it went fade to black, and people were like, oh, you know, like. So yeah, definitely I can see the idea of a teaser at Gamescom for something that we might see at SitCon, for sure.
Our next question here is from Commander J. Shepard, and I'm gonna be AFK for this one. Do we know yet if the land-based vehicles like the Nox, Ursa Rover, etc. will be fuel dependent? Could one run out of gas? And I'll be back in one moment.
I don't believe they can. I think
they said specifically that it's going to work like a normal spaceship, that you can SCM forever. You'll run out of boost or afterburner, just like exactly like a normal spaceship. So you can Commander J, you can circumnavigate a moon without having to worry about running out of gas.
Although it will take around 15 hours.
You just won't be able to do it at 1,000 miles an hour.
Indeed. if you could design one surface outpost, what would it be? What would you guys design? I would like to see a rental shop for land vehicles. What do you think?
That would be actually really helpful for people that don't own them. I like it, and you wouldn't have to shoot someone to steal theirs, so you could maintain your law status.
I mean, I'd like to see reasons for people to congregate in random outposts that are discovered. I don't know why, but I don't know.
What about a bar?
I mean, bars would be cool, but there needs to be reasons for people to be there.
It is a social game. Like the MMO, the whole concept is new to me. I've never really played an MMO, but I understand there's a big social aspect of the game where people log in and just do stuff together.
Just hang out and talk, man. It's like a video game chat room. I mean, I can remember hundreds of hours where I just hang out in Orgrimmar and in World of Warcraft just to talk and hang out with my friends and not really do anything. You know, buy and sell some shit or whatever and just sort of loiter.
We'll do cam show for 10 gold.
Yeah. This is before Twitch was a thing. Next question's from Lyrium. CIG on Twitter asked if you could design one server-side outpost. What would it be? What would you guys design? I would like to see a rental shop for land vehicles. What did you answer then, Bored? If you've done it already.
Stuff. I said stuff. That's right.
I said bar.
Yeah.
Bar, which is why we were talking about the social stuff.
Yeah, mine would be a derelict outpost that had little critters running around it. Mine would be like a horror
literal bug smashers.
Or if I could, make an outpost the size of like a mall. So I really want to, I really want to be able to explore these big structures and things like that. I think it would be really interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see science outposts now, like terrifying ones with horrible experiments. That's yeah, why not?
Our next question is from Negrus. He says, this is not hate, but just for the discussion. Do you guys think that 3.0 is pushing back to Gamescom, not just for the blocker alone, but because they might not have much to show at the conference other than the vertical slice? So they can show 3.0 vertical slice and then release live. Love guys, keep up the good work. By the way, WTFO, the sticker that you gave me at PAX East is in my Drake Jeep Wrangler, and it looks nice. Awesome.
We don't know what they're going to show at 3.0, unfortunately. No. So that's Gamescom.
I mean,
the potential's there because
I kind of assumed that they wanted the live release to coincide with that because it is a big event to go with a big event kind of thing. It doesn't surprise me, but it's not. I don't know if it's on purpose. I think it's more of one of those things that's like, now that they're there, I don't think it'll get pushed back. They will make sure that that happens for that, and so it'll kind of feel like it's meant for that. But at the same time, it's like I think that if they could have released it a week earlier, a couple weeks earlier, that they would, because they would still just show it off and do whatever because it's their.
I don't think it makes any sense for them to show the cool stuff they're showing on ATV if they didn't have the cooler stuff to show at Gamescom.
Right.
Like
I was going to say that it's not like there's 400 people at CIG working on one thing, right? There are things that we haven't seen because the NDA or all of those other things.
Yeah.
Right. So effectively, there's potentially tons of things that we haven't seen or even heard of that they can drop on us.
Right. Daniel Sweden says, what are your guys' opinion on people buying and selling ships on third-party websites such as eBay?
Scum.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Okay. You know, I've bought in third-party ships outside of CIG. Now, for me, I didn't go through eBay or anything. Yeah, it's definitely by. No, I went through one of the viewers. I went through NK Sharp to buy a bunch of the Omegas, right? I bought like 100 Omegas for $10 each or whatever, right? But you know, would I go through a third-party website like eBay or something like that? It's really tough when you're looking at things like buyer protection and stuff like that.
Yes.
Because it's very easily to get swindled for that.
And you're not protected by eBay very well or PayPal very well in lots of countries for those digital purchases. So you need
usually the prices on eBay
digital purchases especially. So it can be pretty difficult to do that. My suggestion would be, look, if you can get it on the game, get it in the game. If you can get it from your best friend, then sure, get it from your best friend. But otherwise, you know, you can earn these things in game as well. You'll be able to buy these in game with credits, which you'll be able to buy those credits and do it that way.
There's anniversary sale. You know, like there's no reason if you wanted to buy an Orion now, let's say,
right, then
that's fine. You're not going to be able to fly it anyways. So aside from it sitting digitally in your hangar,
right,
where you can't do anything with it, I can see waiting for the next concept sale, and you buy that concept sale with the exact purpose. If LTI is a thing that you want, you know, buy that ship, next anniversary sale, CCU to it, if that's still an option, and then you get your ship without any of the risk or potential loss of money, because some people do charge an incremental amount. So I guess to answer the original question is, it is most definitely unnecessary if you're willing to wait, or if you're able to wait, right? Unless you need it like right now, your brain tells you must have, then knock yourself out, right? Like I don't...
Right.
But I like your idea of a friend, you know, like ask around and
I've used the grey market before to buy a couple of prizes in the past and stuff like that. Like, it's buyer beware though. Like, it is dangerous because you could get swindled. So you have to go through people that.
And there are definitely more reputable or more places that have a track record of being successful. But again, unnecessary. You have as many abilities as a person on the gray market if you have time to get the ship you want the way you want it.
Aragorn says, do you think CIG will include shields for nav beacons? This would make it necessary for pirates or rival orgs to travel to the ground in order to destroy it. This eliminates griefers who just want to fly around planet moon surfaces and randomly blow them up. See, I didn't even think you were going to be able to blow them up. I thought you just hack them or move them or whatever.
You can destroy them. You will be able to destroy them. But I just think finding them's the issue. You need to find them. It wouldn't matter if they had a shield on if they've been found, because you just shoot them more.
I'll be a minute.
Drive into it.
Okay.
So, continue on that sort of thing. Like, what do you think the nav beacons are all going to be used for? And yeah,
breadcrumbs.
Yeah, they're going to be great for information sellers. That they go, well, I found this this mining, these asteroids that are mineable that are really rare, whatever. Dropped a nav beacon there. I'll give you the nav beacon coordinates if you give me this amount of money. They're going to be used for trade orgs, for finding the best trade routes, stuff like that. There's loads of stuff. I mean, they're markers on a map.
So I do understand the idea behind the no griefing of nav beacons, but I mean, technically speaking, you put something out there for the greater good of gameplay, for the diverse gameplay that we have. I don't think that dropping an object in space and it being completely impervious to any effect other than your own is possible. Like, that's not...
Finding them is going to be really hard to start with, yeah?
Right.
And griefing them by blowing them up might not be beneficial to you. I mean, the most beneficial thing to do for you finding a random beacon would be to hack it for the location.
Right.
If you know whose it is and you want to stop them from doing something, you might want to destroy it.
Right. So I guess the answer is really wait and see. We have to wait and see what the beacon actually allows you to do as a player, and what the effect of destroying or moving it or all of the other things are. But I mean, the game is cutthroat. It's not. There are locations where law is a thing, and then there's the locations where law isn't a thing. And the whole idea of a PvP slider, or being able to go around the entire universe without having to worry about the causality of another player wanting to blow you up, is itself not what this game is about. It's risk reward for a reason. And if you don't want to be attacked, then stay in a safe sector. I guess there's no way to sugarcoat it. I don't think that...
Nav beacons potentially allow you to get a lot of speed privilege and time privilege, and some orgs will literally have amazing whole networks of these nav beacons. But you need to be able to counter that by destroying them, by hacking them, by intercepting them, by quantum interdicting. Yeah, it's essential for that gameplay. Saurus.
Yes.
Did you want to speed round it?
Yeah, we'll speed round this real quick. Blind Messenger asked me, how often do I think I'll be surrounded by unknown players that I worry about Moby-Glash info showing? Quite a bit. Commander J. Shepard asks, has CIG said what kind of scanners and sensors will be in game? I don't believe they have said what kind yet.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be ones that are better for IR, better for EM, better for certain types of detection.
Right.
But we don't know exactly which.
Better for jump points, things like that.
Exploration, right? Like a Carrack has exploration, and a Terrapin may have something different.
Yeah.
Better for tracking down nav beacons, stuff like that as well. So.
Galactic Surfer says, do you think there might be player-controlled areas in these truck stops, such as retail or repair spaces?
Not in the short term.
Not, yeah. Hopefully in long term.
There. If you sit in it, it's yours.
Derek Rue says, when will ships become viable in game? Or when do you think ships will become viable in game?
It's possible, but unlikely for 3.0. I did ask Aaron about it, but I didn't get an answer specifically for ships, like equipment and stuff. Lots of new stuff. So it's possible for 3.0. If not, I suspect for 3.1 because everyone will complain until we get it.
I guess the question
if it's not in 3.0, I think a lot of people will start complaining.
I guess the question is it with AUEC or with real money or with UEC?
Yeah.
It really doesn't
it would be with AUEC right now.
Okay, so it's like renting a ship then. You grind and then rent a ship.
But then you have it for the entirety of that patch.
And then they wipe it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, they would wipe it for sure.
Definitely.
Wipe it for sure. And
I
instead
think it's
of renting
because right now you cannot use a rented ship.
Yeah.
Which one you can't? You can use it in Arena Commander, but not in the universe.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, so then that would fix that problem.
Aragorn BH asked me if it were possible to create a pet dog like my real life Aurora. Would I? Yeah, of course. I'm like my character. I'm gonna try and make look as much like me and everything in game. So if I could get a little puppers, like I could get Aurora, hopefully with less whining and barking that she has right now, then yes, I would. Vampiric Hoshi says CIG has mentioned garages in 3.0 and the tech to land vehicles in certain ships. But do you think this will be persistent yet? So if I stole my Nox and my cat, it will still be there after logging out?
Yes, it will be persistent.
Yes, they've talked about persistence, and
your
they even said that
damage.
in the last ATV.
Cargo, everything should be persistent in 3.0.
Fallen XZ or XZ says, do we know for sure what type of ordnance may come to the game? Nukes, black hole gun, giant space rail gun. Are there any other mores you can speculate on? The only one we know for sure is the giant rail gun. And that's on the what is it? It's a RE.
Idris.
No, bigger than that. The biggest one.
On the gun. Redemption.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were going to make lots of weapons, but I don't know what ones.
Right.
They're going to be fucking loads. I mean, they're making loads now. They got ones that I don't understand what they are. They've got microwave guns. They got
Tachyon.
Yeah, Tachyon super cannons. I mean, I don't know, whatever. There's gonna be lots of shit.
A Fruton torpedo.
Frutons, yeah.
Vampiric Hoshi again says it's a little concerning to me that CIG introducing insurance before ship locks. If you leave your ship right now, it's stolen or destroyed in seconds. It's not encouraging griefing. We don't know that, and I think ship locks are coming in with item 2.0. There's no reason why they couldn't.
Well, quite possibly.
So they could be introducing them at the same time. Have you thought about that, Vampiric Hoshi?
Oh, I bet he hasn't.
Can I drop my mic? There we go.
That sounds expensive.
No, it's a speed round. Don't drop the mic.
I know. Green Fox Leader says, I'm considering using an Xbox controller for ground vehicles. What do you think is a viable input device? I can't see driving around on a planet in a rover with a HOTAS. Thanks, love the cast. I'm going to do the same thing. I have an Xbox controller right here that I'm using because I prefer to drive with. I would like a steering wheel, but a controller is a good second option. I prefer it over a keyboard and mouse.
Ooh, look at you go!
Look at that.
I wonder if we can use these.
I have the Vive ones on their way. The Knuckles.
I wonder if we'll see if we can bodge those to work with vehicles. But I think a joypad for ground vehicles is actually a good shout.
As he pulls out a drum set from Guitar Hero. I'm gonna play with this.
Guitar.
Daniel Sweden asked BoredGamer, you always say that the Reclaimer is probably your favorite ship. Explain why. What is so special about it for you?
Because I've seen things about it that you have yet to see. It's a massive ship. It's beautiful. It strikes my wanting to do industry, but also treasure hunting. There's a bit of exploration there. There's a huge amount of potential for lots of different things there. And the idea of salvaging things in space, not just other people's ships, but things, and finding alien artifacts and stuff, is pretty cool. Like big ship.
Big ship for the big bucks. Daniel Sweden says, how big do you think the new Banning Merchantman is? Bigger.
Polaris size.
Bigger than an Aurora, but smaller than your mom.
Oh, she is quite big.
Wow.
Yeah, Polaris size, maybe.
Polaris. They said about the same size as the Polaris, except less Dorito shaped.
And our last question from GM Warlord: how do you think your setups are going to change until the game's release? VR, headset, flight sticks, etc. Mine's going to stay the same, I think.
I mean, I'll try a bit of everything.
I have a VR room beside me, but we'll see if it gets any use.
Dog VR room.
Well, as you can hear, she doesn't like being there by herself. She's the biggest suck, so I'm gonna bring it back to a VR room. I'm gonna pick up some sound deadening foam.
For recording, I just like mouse and keyboard myself. I've currently got. I probably will evolve a bit because I like more buttons. Something will come along that I'll be like, I want to use that. If I really find a throttle that I love, I will introduce the throttle mouse because I do like that setup.
Double mouse. No.
Double mouse. Double
throttles, my friends.
So for myself, I just completely redid my whole computer. It's 7700K. 2 M.2 SSDs. I'm not using SATA anymore, and for crunching videos, it's actually really good. And I'm focusing on the room itself, the dead room. I've bought some more lights and positioning some stuff. But as far as controllers, I'm gonna try the shit out of the Wooting 1 if I ever get my hands on that analog.
Oh, keyboard. The pressure sensitive one, yeah.
That could be a game changer because it literally gives anyone with a keyboard 6 DOF analog as a possibility. So, Wooting, Timba, his arms wide. Send it to me so I can test the crap out of it and then make people buy it. Because it could turn out to be a dog, but there's no reason why it would. Other than the only thing I could think of that it would suck is having to go through the initial configuration. That could be very frustrating. But aside from that, being able to gradually push on a button and have the ship gradually move. Wow. That's it for that question for me. Anyway.
I quite like track IR, and I don't use voice attack
much,
but I'm gonna phase that in definitely.
That being said, that is the last question, so it's all good. I want to thank Matoshi, fucking.
Oh, Matoshi! Thanks, Matoshi. What's he done? Then let's have a look.
Noobifier for joining us this week. It's because I have Matoshi up on my screen. So yeah, guys, let me know what you're up to, where people can find you. We'll start with you, Noobifier.
So I'm on YouTube mostly, not really on Twitch. Facebook and Twitter, no problem with there. I'm going to be working on a couple of new videos, specifically what you can do while you're waiting in Quantum. That's the next topic that I'm trying to work on. So hopefully it doesn't turn out to be stupid. I'm going to try my best to make it not stupid. And thanks for everyone's support lately. The last 2 videos have gotten some really good traction. And obviously your comments are welcome. And that's the point. That's the whole reason I make videos, is to get people to talk and figure stuff out. So thank you.
BoredGamer.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Matachi. Oh no, I did it as well. There you can find me, BoredGamerUK, on all the social medias, on the YouTubes and the Twitches, although YouTube is my main stomping ground. I am streaming more, so that's something to not look forward to. I don't know. Streaming's hard. Streaming's hard and it's hot in my room. But lots of Star Citizen things happening, videos on stuff. We're preparing for 3.0, so I mean, get ready for that. Brace yourselves. Like that. But yeah, what about you, Saurus? What are you doing? I don't know. What's going on?
So first off, I want to apologize to anybody who made it this far through the YouTube video for the sounds of the dog and whatever.
I'm gonna try and remove them.
I'll know it's gonna be hard, man. It's gonna be hard.
There was quite a lot of times that it's quite rhythmic.
Yeah.
And I think I can remove
very
some of
rhythmic
it.
with it. But I'll know if you guys watched the whole podcast or if you just heard the whining at the beginning and then just complained right away. But I do want to say thanks for putting up with that. She is still just a puppy. She's only 11 weeks old. So right now she is training sort of to be away from me. And if she can hear me, it makes it really tough. And she's literally in the room beside me. Well, she's laying down beside me right now. That being said, thank you so much for everybody once again for coming by for this. I know content's been really slow for Star Citizen. I haven't been streaming a lot of Star Citizen lately. And when I have, I get really easily frustrated because it's the same sort of bugs that we've been dealing for 6 months. That being said, Tuesdays I've been doing, we started Tabletop Night, which was last night. Tonight we're doing our first D&D night, which will be every Wednesday, starting here at 4 o'clock, so in about 3 hours from now. And yeah, you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/WTFOSAURUS and on Twitter at WTFOSAURUS again. Right now, guys, what we're going to do, though, is we're going to send you guys over to Matochi, which is why I had Matochi on the mind. So do me a favor. I'm going to post a link in chat. Go over there, spam your favorite emotes, whether they be from my channel, Board's channel, Twitch channel, whatever. Let's go over there. And at the very least, even if you don't want to stick around, go and say hello. Let them know that we love all our Redacted members. And we will see you guys later tonight if you're around. If not, next Wednesday for our podcast. Take care, guys. We love you all in the face. And we will see you guys later.